Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about Sago palm care. I love my Sago palm here. It's been with me for quite a few years, and as you can tell, it's getting to be quite a size to it. I bought this guy at a Canadian Tire or some hardware store probably for $6-7 4, 5, 6 years ago. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about their care and culture and some interesting sort of facts about them. So they are actually a cycad, and I just love that family. It looks so prehistoric, right? These are exactly what the dinosaurs were walking around with. Pretty cool plants. Very, very spiky. Very abrasive. Not nice to run into these. This is nice new growth this year. It's just starting to harden, and it's not quite so spiky. But what we're going to do is I'm going to put this guy right here. I have a hanging hook. My display hook is always here. I just hardly ever use it. And I was smart enough to put this plant in a hanging basket last year. So it actually has a hook, and my hook comes down from the ceiling. And yeah, we can look at this guy together. So they are very, very hardy plants. For temperature wise, household temperatures are great, but they are good right down to 0. They're actually good down below 0. And here, I'm going to try to turn this guy one more 180-degree turn here, just so he's, there you go, maybe we can see him a little bit better. Anyways, they are good right down to freezing temperatures. They can probably take a -5 Celsius, or that's going to be like a 20 Fahrenheit, maybe even a little bit colder in Fahrenheit, although I don't trust them that cold. If I was to see frost, I would want to bring this guy in, just because I work very hard to keep him as good as he is. So, things to know about these guys: they really like well-drained soil. And this guy I just repotted last year into some well-draining soil. And as you can see, the new growth is much bigger this year. It's actually hitting the window inside the house, which is making it kind of a little bit decrepit, which sucks. It's leaning that way. You might not be able to see it on camera, but it's leaning towards the window, and the side that's touching the window is actually like a little bit bent. So I'm a little upset about that. But yeah, they like a well-draining soil. They like to dry out in between waterings. They're a super easy plant. This guy I probably watered with a tiny amount of water 4 to 6 times this winter, and it sits in the warmest room of my house. It sits just on we have a natural gas fireplace. It sits on top of the mantle for the natural gas fireplace, which is a big mantle, so it had no problem holding this, but it gets tons of heat. So it has had a really warm winter despite being able to take the cold, and I think it's liked it. I haven't had this good a growth in years. And kind of a funny story, he always ends up outside for the summertime, and he'll come out pretty soon, but not during his new growth phase. I don't want to hurt that. And so I've had this guy in the ground, and I've had bugs burrow into the base here, which kind of sucked, so I don't put him in the ground anymore. And I've had this guy in pots in the garden, and the gardens get pretty lush and tropical, so it got pretty shaded because it was pretty small. This is last year's growth, and this year's growth is quite a different size. It's a totally different size plant this year. So last year I put him out front, and he was sitting on my railing, and my railing has sort of big pads on it for plants, or it's not really for plants, but that's what I use it for plants. And anyways, it's very hot out there, very dry out there, gets lots and lots of direct sunlight, and these pots got so light. I live up quite high, and it gets windy. The wind actually blew this thing off the patio, and it fell down and hit the cement below, which is probably a good 15-foot drop, and the pot got damaged, but it fluked out. I guess these are kind of act like almost like a parachute, and it just kind of like slowed it down, and it fell exactly and hit the pot. So I put it back up there, and it did it again a week later. It fell off, and it was still fine, but the pot had broken completely. So the third time around, I put it in clay pot, going, it's good and heavy, it's not going to go anywhere. 3 times last summer, this thing fell off my patio, off the railing and down below. And again, even the clay pot, I found it smashed on the ground, and so I was a little bit discouraged, had lots on the go, and I left it just unpotted for the rest of the summer down in a shaded area in the garden. and it got like so dry because there was like, it was under cover, there was no water, and unfortunately due to that I lost 2 full sets of leaves. They went yellow, and so I cut them all off in the fall, repotted it in this hanging pot, and with a whole bunch of new dirt again, and the roots seemed fine, but I thought I was going to lose this plant. And anyways, I cut off the 2 previous years worth, and it just had its last year's on. And yeah, so this year it has grown back with nice new stuff, and I'm really happy, and I'm going to promise to take care of it a little bit more again. But does like bright here anyways, bright sunlight, doesn't seem to mind the heat at all, can take the cold. So the only other things to really talk about are, this thing is a bug magnet. If you ever have a chance to have scale, this is going to be the plant that it gets scale. It has none right now. It looks very, very clean inspecting all the leaves, but this thing is an absolute scale magnet. It has had scale on it a couple times, and when it gets scale, it gets it bad. So you got to make sure you're always on top of it for scale problems. A few years ago, it was in the greenhouse here, and I noticed it was covered in ants, and ants and scale go like hand in hand. If there's one, there's the other, and I should have realized what was happening, and the ants were harvesting the scale that it was just covered in. So outside it went for the rest of that year as well, and I battled with scale probably until last year with this thing. So for 2 full years I battled with scale on this thing. Only plant I've ever seen that's that bad. So word of warning for that, it really attracts the bugs. I don't know why, because it's like a hard plant that is not very juicy or tender or anything at all. And the other thing to know about this guy is it is very toxic. So you want to keep it away from pets and kids and everything else. The leaves are toxic, the base is toxic, the flowers are toxic, and yeah, the berries are toxic from this, the seeds are toxic. So make sure you keep it away from kids and pets. Other than that, beautiful plant, slow growing for me. I usually get 1 to 1.5 fronds a year, sort of about every 9-10 months that I'll throw something up. I've heard that you can get up to 3 fronds a year. That would be amazing, like 3 sets of growth. So I'm going to try for that this year, but wow, it definitely doubled in size on me. So anyways, I really liked the warm winter that it had. That is my Sago palm care video. I hope you liked it. A few of my stories involved as well. Some people like my stories, some people don't like my stories. If you don't like my stories, I guess you don't have to listen to them. But anyways, if you want to see more videos like this on Sago palms and other tropical plants and their care, culture, and other things like that, make sure you subscribe to my channel. As always, thanks for watching.